Welcome to the inaugural episode of Coast to Coast Sales. This is your very own sales debatecast featuring my good friend out on the West Coast in sunny California, Mr. Josh Roth, and myself out here in cold, wet, beautiful New York City, Tom Bokar. Yes, you heard that correct. This is our sales debatecast. So we are going to be debating some of the latest topics that we are finding, prevalent here in the sales world, particularly related to technology space. And let me, I guess, backtrack a second and tell you why we're doing this right now. So we feel like there's so much content that's out there, floating around and in your face that is non-situational, right? So we want to offer a situational analysis as well as tactics that we have run into or are currently facing or utilizing in our day-to-days and deliver it to you in a format of friendly debate. So with that being said, our first topic for this episode is actually going to be looking at a situation that we've all come across, probably multiple times, but it's happened at some point in our careers, no matter what stage of life your company's in, and that's the old, do you hire a new rep or do you build a tech stack? So Josh, why don't you break it down for us and kind of run us through what we're going to be really diving into today.
Awesome. All right. So the situation we're going to be analyzing is you are a Series B startup. You have between 5 and 15 million ARR. Your company has a headcount of 50, 10 of which are in the sales department. You have 1 VP of sales, you have 6 account executives, and you have 3 SDRs. Your split is currently 50-50 on inbound and outbound sales revenue. Your team has a CRM and a Zoom in place, but you do not have any additional tech stack. So the question we're going to be discussing and debating is hire or build. Tom is going to take the new hire side. I'm going to take the build the tech stack side, and we're going to debate it out.
Great. So, and then I want you guys to tell us who wins, right? East versus West, hire versus build, right? So the old chicken and egg debate here. So Josh, why don't you kick us off? Get us started here in the beginning.
Sure.
So with the new hire, Josh, what you're getting is these intangible skills that's out there, right? So I understand the efficiencies that you're going to get from a tech stack, and I understand how that's going to help the existing team operate at a higher capacity, and I do not disagree with that. The area, though, that I think is challenged is that because of the tight job market that we're in right now, it is imperative that you're building a pipeline of people to not only be prepared for when someone within your team does inevitably leave, because they will get pulled or they will just jump ship and try something new, but it is a market where the good reps, they're not applying for jobs right now. They're happy. They're getting headhunted, so you need to be out there headhunting them as well. And if you're spending the time and you're just buying this tech stack to support the team that does it, to only then have to rebuild that team 3 months from now, it's difficult. So I think if you have the choice between one extra hire and building the efficiencies, get that extra hire, have them trained up, build the right structure in so that they're coming on board, they're hitting the ground running, supporting the team that's already in place while they're getting ramped up. So then once they start contributing, then you're in a better position to then spend more money, and you're more comfortable with having that extra person there, that if you do lose 1 or 2 people, it's not, kind of a domino effect where you have nothing left. Let me ask you a couple questions on your end with the tech stack, Josh, right? So I'm assuming with the tech stack, you're obviously going to go to like some of the best things that are out there, right? So you're going to look at like an Outreach or a SalesLoft, right? You're going to probably look at some contacts as well. So
Zoom
get
info, yeah.
some of those pieces in there. So who's going to be overseeing and managing the actual use of the tech stacks from them, like that make sure they're being utilized appropriately and driving that efficiency and making the reps better, essentially?
Sure. So it's a really good question, and I think you bring up a number of good points. So for me, I kind of look at it from a standpoint of how much more efficient can I make my reps? So really in this scenario, the VP of sales has to be driving adoption of whatever platform you're bringing on. So you have 9 reps, right? You have 6 AEs, you have 3 SDRs. So let's just say hypothetically, your reps are at 100% quota, just nice, easy round number. If I can bring in an Outreach, a SalesLoft, a Zoom Info, one of the earlier tech stacks that you're going to bring in and build. If I can get the efficiency of each of those reps to be at 120%, I'm already going to be closing more business, and probably for less costs than I would to bring in a new hire. So a new hire, OTE, depending on the market, with carrying costs and all that, it's generally going to cost the business, in this market, probably, 82 to 100,000, depending on, whether you're bringing on an SDR or AE. And if I can get my 9 reps here to close at between 10 and 25% increased from their incremental revenue that they're currently generating, and I'm adding on a platform that, again, the costs are going to vary, but it would be around maybe a little less than what you pay for a new hire. For me, that's going to generate more revenue, and it's going to be a higher ROI than hiring a new hire, which is going to cost not only the VP of sales to focus on the recruiting and the onboarding and the training and the ramping and all that good stuff, but it's also going to cost them on the interview cycle. They're going to be diverting attention away from their day-to-day. Whereas here, you can hone in more on your day-to-day and focus specifically on how to better the reps from a more granular standpoint while they're being onboarded to this new technology. So that for me is why I build as opposed to hire.
The tech stack standpoint, it's like, yeah, it should generate the efficiencies so that you can operate leaner from a body count. But I think on the flip side of it, you can't discount the job market and the flightiness of staff. So it's one of those where it's like you can be passionate from both sides and be the same person. You know what I mean? So it's
what's interesting was the crux of both of our arguments actually took on an interesting angle. Like, you went defensive and you said, look, if I lose one of these reps, that's a lot of money that's out the door. And it's going to take a long time to replace that person in this market. So you were a little bit more defensive about it. I was a little bit more aggressive and said, go build efficiency, because in my scenario, with only 9 reps driving, 5 to 15 million ARR, if you lose one, that is a lot of your revenue. I mean, if you're on the $5 million side, you're looking at probably, a $800,000 hole being left. And worse, if you're on the $15 million side, you're looking at closer to like a $1.5 to $2 million hole. And if that's a better rep, that may be $2.5 million.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we went 2 very different ways, which is really interesting. You went more defensive given the market. I went more aggressive trying to obtain growth, which is interesting. It's 2 different angles, which is fun. I didn't really recognize that until we got to the end.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I first was thinking about this, also I was like, man, like the new hire, what's why? If it's one or the other. And then I started thinking about it. It was around, the job market itself. It is so strong. So it's not like you're just gonna be plucking people and it's like, oh, they happen to apply. You're not gonna get anyone good from that end.
No.
But to your point, it's like if you lose someone that's 20% of your revenue potentially, give or take, right? In this scenario. But if you lose someone and they're your top ringer, right? In the 80-20 rule, they're your 20% that's driving 80% of your revenue, maybe, right? Then now you're losing, like you said, it could be upwards of, 4 million in a 15 million ARR, right?
Yep.
And it could actually be more significant from a new business standpoint because we said it's 50-50 revenue generation. So in reality, your 6 people are generating $7.5 million, right? And this one person, they could be doing 33% of that. They could do $2.5 million.
Right.
And you get in $1 million from the other 5 guys. That's a huge hole to fill.
Oh,
and, and the way that most people train and teach SDRs, none of them are going to be ready to tap to the big leagues and take on a portion of that, So, listen, thanks for joining us today. So this was, as mentioned, the inaugural debate. So please, comment below. Let us know, hey, first of all, let us know what you think, right? Did we miss any points? Do you agree with it? You could tell us how much you think that I obviously won the debate from this end. But let us know your thoughts there. And from the other side, let us know what you'd like to cover next. If there's anything that you're facing right now, drop it in the comments, or obviously direct message either of us, both of us, and let us know. And hopefully there's some good takeaways from here. And look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks.
All right, West Coast out.
You don't need that 1980s Rainmaker that comes with a big Rolodex. And Jesus, I'm dating myself by saying Rolodex. Actually, when I first started in sales, I've owned a few Rolodexes, but we'll save that for another time as well.
I still have mine. I got my little black book.
Jeez.
Or maybe experienced, or just shoot us a message. Ugh, I am all over.
Yeah, it's getting there.